Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel Inventor New. Have you ever wondered how people create those patterns on the blade? From traditional hand engraving to precise laser etching, there are many ways to add detail to a blade. I'm going to share with you a method that's both cost-effective and surprisingly effective. Any dirt, oil, or rust can affect the result, so it's important to start with a clean surface. To clean the surface, I'm just using regular dish soap. Simple but effective. Cleaning the blade beforehand is important because any grease, dirt, or rust can prevent the design from sticking properly or cause uneven results. Now, let's prepare a piece of wire for the next step. Now strip the wire to reveal the copper inside. That's the part we'll be using. To remove the outer insulation, you can use a utility knife or a wire stripper. Just make a gentle cut along the length of the wire. Careful not to nick the copper inside. Then pull the plastic casing away. Now that we got the copper wire exposed, it's time to give it some shape. This is where things start to come together. You can bend it the way I do or just twist into shape, whatever works best for you. Now I'll prepare two types of wires, and on each end I'm attaching an alligator clip. These will help us connect everything securely. Alligator clips are like little clamps. They grab onto the wire or metal surface and keep everything connected, nice and secure. This is a design template I've already prepared. It will help guide the etching process. Make sure to press it down firmly, right where you want the image or shape to show up during the etching. Carefully peel away the parts you don't need, leaving only the design you want to keep. Now I'll move on to wrapping the blade. This helps protect the areas we don't want to etch. I'm using electrical tape here because it sticks well and creates a good barrier against the etching solution. Make sure to cover all the surrounding areas completely. After wrapping everything with electrical tape, I'll use double-sided tape to build a small frame around the design. To shape the mold, I'm adding some flat wooden sticks around the edges. This will help hold everything in place while we etch. Now I'll place the pre-cut wooden sticks around the stencil to form a small mold. Once they're in position, I'll secure them with hot glue to make sure the frame stays firmly in place and doesn't shift during process. Carefully position the copper wire within the frame, making sure it stays in contact with the area we want to etch. Alright, now it's time to get a 12-volt power source ready. This will drive electro etching. For the power supply, you can either use a 12-volt motorcycle battery or a standard adapter/charger. Both work just fine for this setup. Connect the red wire to the positive terminal and the blue wire to the negative terminal. Now take one end of the copper wire and attach it to blue wire using an alligator clip. The basic principle behind this setup is quite similar to how a welding machine works. Use electricity to create a controlled chemical or thermal reaction at a specific point. Alright, let's move on preparing the solution. This is what will actually do the etching once the power is connected. You only need two simple ingredients for the etching solution: salt and water. Mix them together until the salt dissolves completely. This salty water will act as the electrolyte for the etching process. Start by pouring some warm water into a small container. Then add a generous amount of table salt. About 1 or 2 tablespoons should be enough, depending on the size of your design. Stir the mixture until the salt is fully dissolved. Once it's ready, carefully pour the solution into the mold we made earlier, making sure it completely covers the exposed copper wire and the stencil area. Alright, let's set a timer. Timing is important to make sure we don't over-etch the design. Now it's time to connect the power. Once everything is connected securely, turn on the power supply. You should see tiny bubbles forming around the exposed area. That means the etching process has started. Let it run for a few minutes, depending on how deep or dark you want the design to be. That's why we've set the timer, to keep things under control. After 4 minutes, it's time to stop the etching process and see how it turned out. Carefully turn off the power supply and disconnect the wires. Then, remove the tape and the stencil, and rinse the blade with clean water to wash off any remaining solution. Carefully peel off the electrical tape and double-sided tape. If there's any adhesive left on the blade, you can use a bit of rubbing alcohol or warm soapy water to clean it off. Now that the blade is clean, let's take a closer look at the result. You can already see the design etched into the metal. It's clear, sharp, and just how we wanted it. If you want to make it stand out even more, you can lightly polish the surface using fine sandpaper or a metal polishing pad. This will remove any oxidation and make the etched area pop. And that's it. A simple, budget-friendly way to create custom designs on metal using just saltwater, tape, and a bit of electricity. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, don't forget to like and share.